What is the ultimate symbol of your life? What is the ultimate meaning of your journey? What is the ultimate representation of your experience? How mystic, magical, and mysterious is your life? How intuitive are you in regard of the events that surrounds your life? How much do you hear your inner voice? How much do you trust the symbolic meaning? How much do you love your own perspective in life, your own lens of view, your own framework for your existence? Difficult questions, huh? Questions that most people they will never ask themselves this in their lifetime. These are just questions that are not mainstream. Who is promoting these questions? School? No. College? Well, university? Well, sometimes, kind of. It depends, right? What you study. Maybe if you go to philosophy, maybe you can explore some of these questions. But sadly, most people will never ask themselves this type of questions. And are these questions, my friends, which make your life meaningful, rich, adventurous, exciting? These are the type of questions that turns your life from a banal existence into a mythologic adventure. So that is our aim for today, folks. Today, in this episode, we are going to reconnect with one of the most powerful stage of consciousness or ways of being or ways of interpreting reality, reality, your life, your dream, what I call the symbolic reality. Are you ready to wake up? Welcome, my friend, to this episode, the 510. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here. This episode, I have been thinking about this episode for a long time, and I didn't kind of know how to express the idea. And I was introspecting and meditating for the last few months in how I will proceed, how I can express what is the symbolic reality, because this is so profound and this is so essential for the good life, for the art of living, for the good living, for personal development, for self sophistication. That, yeah, I kind of struggled with this idea for a long time. Not living the idea. I know how to live the idea, but how to express it, is a whole new challenge. But thanks God that today is the day. So this idea will reach the collective consciousness, and hopefully you will make a couple of changes in your life based on this idea. So also I want to remind you that we have exclusive and a private and free group in Telegram for those of you that are following the podcast and hearing this idea and you want to explore further with other people just like you. Well, the link is in the description if you want to join to this free temporary chat for the Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2 every Monday through Friday at 4 a.m. approximately, with your host, Dr. Derek Israel. So let's go right into it. Like 2 years ago, I made an episode. It's in Spanish. So if you understand Spanish, maybe you can hear that podcast. I don't remember exactly the name, but it was something about how we are living in a magical reality or in a mystical reality. And that episode serves as kind of foundational. It's kind of foundational for what we are going to be discussing here, because symbols are a very mystic thing, and living a symbolic life is a very magical thing. So if you don't know anything about mysticism, magic, and spirituality in general, this episode will be a little bit hard for you to swallow. Okay, so try to stay with me if you don't know nothing about those subjects. If you know a little bit about it, if you have studied, if you have meditate, if you know a little bit about psychology, mythology, spirituality, metaphysics, well, maybe this episode will be a little bit more profound to you, because you already have a little bit of a framework about what we are gonna be discussing today. So let's start with the beginning, shall we? When we are talking about living a symbolic life, we are talking about, you know, oh, sorry guys, my light almost went off. Just give me a break. Give me just 1 second to accommodate this in a way that will not kill me or kill my computer. Okay, so when we are talking about living a symbolic life, obviously we are talking about living a life with symbols. But hey, we live a life with symbols. It's just so obvious. Like this bunny that you are seeing here in this screen, if you are seeing this episode through my YouTube channel as a video, well, that is a symbol, right? And everything is a symbol. The logo of the Mastermind podcast, the intro, every word that I'm saying, letters, they are symbols. So why are they so important? That is the first question that we should explore. Well, symbols are very important because they lock in themselves infinite degrees of meaning. So let's start with that idea. This is like Mike Tyson. You are fighting with Mike Tyson. I will not start with a jab, like slowly punching you in the face, like, oh, come on, baby. No, no, no. I'm going for the knockout in the first 5 minutes of the podcast. I don't want you to lose your time I have a full agenda also. So let's waste no time. Symbols are infinite potential of meaning. And the reason why I say potential is because you can either actualize the potential of a symbol or not. For example, a cross. Let's look across real uh, quick here. So if you are watching this on my YouTube channel, you're gonna be benefiting from the visuals. I always recommend you guys to go and watch the video podcast instead of only the audio. So this is one of the most famous symbol, like in history of humanity, the cross, where Christ was murdered and sacrificed. So you can see the cross, and for you, this will represent some kind of meaning. But the cross have infinite potential of meanings locked into this symbol. Now, who do you think will appreciate better the meanings of the cross? You or the Pope, for example, that the Pope have been preparing his whole life for being the representation of God in earth. He has been studying, he has been meditating, praying, and I know that being a pope has a lot of politics. I know that they are human, they are not perfect. I'm not saying that. I know they have problems. I know they may be corrupt and a pedophile. I know all of that. Um, but let's just think that the Pope is kind of a good man or a good woman, whatever, and 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 let's forget about politics and ego and all of that stuff. Who do you think will understand better that symbol, the integrity of the symbol, the deepness, the richness of the symbol? You that you okay, you kind of see the cross every time that you go to church. Maybe you read Wikipedia about it, but that's it. Or the Pope that meditate every night looking at a cross. Who do you think will understand better the infinite degrees of meaning that are locked in that symbol, aka the cross? Who do you think? Well, probably the Pope, in this example, will understand better the symbol because he relates to the symbol more deeply, more constantly. He meditates on the symbol. He actualizes the symbol, right? So what is a symbol? A symbol is a representation of other thing. That's it. If you see the Mastermind podcast, let me just show you another symbol, yeah, that I have here in my computer, just a random symbol. So let's say, so this is, um, I don't find another symbol in my computer. Okay, so let's see this symbol that I put it here in the screen here. So this is the symbol for my course. This is the logo of my course that is called Self-Love Masterclass. You can enroll in that course if you want at derekisrael.com. Is this my course? Is this thing that you are seeing here, this fountain with the infinite symbol or logo or whatever in top of it, is this my course? No, this is not my course. Obviously, it is just a logo. Well, that is a symbol. This logo represents my course, but it's not my course. You see? You see? Dr. Derek Israel here, this is a symbol as well. Is this Dr. Derek Israel, this phrase, this name, these letters, these words, are these myself? Do you think that this thing is me? No, of course not. You don't think that. You say, well, that is your name. That is how your name it is, the proper way that you write your name, but that is not you. Well, that is a symbol. If you see Dr. Derek Israel writing, you may think about me. And you know that is me, but it's not me because you don't come to the podcast to see these words writing in the screen and that's it. No, you come to the podcast to see me. And now you don't even come to the podcast to see me. You come to the podcast to hear the ideas, other symbols, notice ideas, words, metaphors, stories, jokes that I do here in my performance in this podcast. And with those symbols, you decode them. How do you say decode? It is the word. Let me check real quick. Yeah, decode. You decode them, like you interpret them in a way that they become something good in your life. They become an asset in your life. You come to this podcast to steal my symbols. I need you to understand this. Representations of representations of representations. For example, I have an idea of what is a symbol, and I am trying with other symbols, aka words. I am trying to explain you what is a symbol, but notice how you will construct your own symbol and your own meaning about what is a symbol in your mind. So you never take the idea with the raw form. You never take the essential idea. You only take the symbolic aspect of the idea because you will take these ideas and you will make them your own. And if a 5 years old little kid asks you tomorrow, hey, what is a symbol? You will think, oh, I listened to a podcast yesterday of Dr. Derek Israel in which he explained what is a symbol. So let me remember. Oh, yeah, a symbol is this and this and that and that and that. And what you will give to that 5 years old, you will give more symbols. And those symbols that you are giving to him are not the same that I'm giving to you right now. Because symbols are a representation of a representation of a representation, and these go back forever. Forever. There's nothing grounding a symbol. And we are not going to talk about ground today, a metaphysical ground, because that is for another day, in another episode, maybe, or in another product that I will be launching. Maybe not in the podcast because that is very advanced. And I told you guys, this podcast is made for being medium level of difficulty, not advanced. For the advanced stuff, I will be doing a new product, a new show. I hope that it will start as soon I finish my Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2. Maybe it will start in January 2023. That is my aim. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to accomplish that, but I'm preparing for that. So we are not gonna discuss ground or what holds the ultimate reality, but what I can say to you is that symbols always represent other things, right? And you can understand those other things if you really want and if you really go deep in the symbolic life that you are experiencing, or you may not. If you don't do it, you will live probably a very kind of average, normal, nothing extraordinary kind of life. And if that is your purpose, and if that is your aim, okay, do you, no problem. But if you are more into living a great life, if you are more into enjoying the sublime life, the mythologic life, life in paradise, life in the esoteric element of reality, well, stay tuned because maybe this podcast will be enlightened for you. So we already discussed what is a symbol. So what is the symbolic life then? Well, the symbolic life, it is a life, it is your life, it is my life that respect, admire, and works with the profundity of symbols through their journey. That is the symbolic life. The symbolic life is a lifestyle, folks. It is a lifestyle that you adopt in which you prioritize, you make a priority, you make something important, the art, and it's an art, of understanding the symbolic meanings that your life are that your life is throwing at you. And you don't only understand those symbols, but also you engineer very profound meanings related to those symbols that you are encountering in your life. And you may ask, why the hell I will want to do that? Well, because based on those meanings, you will grow as hell, my friend. Meanings are like tools for self advancement. Meanings, well engineered meanings, are like nuclear bombs for self advancement. Sorry, guys, I have been reading a lot of about war lately, studying war dynamics, politics, conflict, and the associations that I have in my mind are very military right now. So sorry for referring to nuclear bombs, but I was studying that yesterday. So sorry, guys. So yeah, they are like nuclear bombs. Your meanings are, oh God, they are weapons for your self sophistication. You see. So what I'm asking for you today, directly in this challenge, in this episode, is for you to open up what we can call, what is this that I have here? Maybe I have toothpaste. Yeah, I have a little bit of a toothpaste in my lip. Um, what I'm calling, what I am asking for you is to start living your symbolic life, to wake up from the banal, ordinary life to a life full of symbols with infinite degrees of meaning that you can explore in your meditation, in your introspection, in your journalism, in your whole life. And you may ask, okay, Derek, that sounds kind of cool, but where I will find those symbols? Well, you will find those symbols everywhere, dude. Everywhere. The symbolic life is your life. It is everywhere. For example, in your dreams, everything that happened in your dream is a symbol. Nothing is literal in your dreams. And I explained this in a Spanish episode that is called something about dreams. You can search on YouTube Derek Israel Sueños, Sueños is the translation for dreams in Spanish. And you may, if you know Spanish, you can go to that episode to understand better the dynamics of dreams. But dreams are symbolic structures and symbolic machines. But not only your dreams, your fantasies also. Your daydreaming, your visions, the things that you see in meditation, those may be symbols. The things that you draw in a paper when you are distracted and you start drawing and then you see like, what the hell I draw? That may be a symbol. You know, you turn on the TV and you start watching TV, you will see thousands of symbols. If you go and you stand in the middle of, how do you call this place in New York? I forgot the name. That place in New York that there's a lot of lights and a lot of billboards. I forgot the name. I think it's in Manhattan. Anyways, if you go to New York and you're walking with people in the multitude, in the crowd, just look around. Look all the symbols that you are experiencing. If you are listening to music, everything is a symbol. Every note is a symbol. Every sound represent other thing, maybe an emotion, maybe a thought, maybe a memory, maybe an insight, maybe a hope. Every time that you open a book, you are entering a world full of symbols. Every time that you see a movie or you go to a museum, or every time that you experience a work of art, notice how your life is full of symbols. It's full of representations, of representations, of representations forever. Now, the art of living the symbolic life is the art of noticing those symbols and deciphering very deeply what those symbols means for you in your own context, in your own life, what those symbols wants to tell you, and trusting that. That is the art of the symbolic life. Understanding symbols, deciphering your own symbols, and implementing that wisdom in your hero's journey for the rest of your life. How beautiful do you think this will be? It's very beautiful. This is the basis of the artist life. If you want to be an artist, you need to understand how to work with symbols. If you want to understand beauty with capital B, you need to understand symbols. If you want to transcend into a very spiritual realm and maybe become enlightened, enlightenment is a symbol, by the way. Notice enlightenment. What is the symbol there? Well, it is a light. We are talking about shine. We are talking about becoming light. What is that? What the hell is that? Why Buddha talk about that? Why in Hinduism they talk about that? Why the hell? Well, because that is a symbol. You will not become a light bulb if you meditate for 30 years, but you may become very wise, very peaceful, very integrated, very grounded, and that we can symbolize as enlightened. Do you understand? Salvation is a symbol, hell is a symbol, heaven is a symbol, love is a symbol, compassion. Everything that I teach you is a damn symbol. Now, if I teach the same class or the same lecture or the same lesson or the same whatever to this to a lot of people, why some people, well, why some individuals, they actually actualize what I teach, and some of them, they are like, bleh, and they continue with their normal life. Well, because they differ in how they implemented the symbols. They differ in how they lived their symbolic life. Some people listen to me and they say, ah, that guy is too complex. Um, Sorry, guys, I need to put my charger in my computer. Just give me 1 second. All right, we are back. We are back. I hate when I forgot to do it, but hey, I'm not perfect. So some people say, ah, man, that guy's too complex. It's, too over the wall. And they discard all the symbols that I'm trying to share with them. And some of them, maybe you are like, oh, he's interesting. Let me see what he has to say. Oh, he talked about this symbol. So he talked about the perpetual motion machine. That is one episode that you should definitely listen. It is called "You Are the Perpetual Motion Machine," one of the best episodes in the Mastermind podcast, at least in my opinion. And you are like, oh, what is that symbol? Oh, can I try that? Can I meditate on that? Can I implement that? So two different persons can hear the same lesson, but it will depend in their symbolic life how they will apply what they learn. It will depend. So this is a call for you to deepening your symbolic life in all the areas, in all the symbols that you encounter for the rest of your life. I need you to become serious about this work, because this is the basis of a spiritual, psycho-mythologic kind of existence. So, what is the problem with modern man, woman, or the intersex individual? What is the problem with the current society as how we live? Well, the problem is that we live in a world without meaning. We live in a world in a world in which symbols are just pragmatical. They are not spiritual anymore. They are not meaningful anymore. A cross is a cross now. A cross is not integration. A cross is not uh, transcendence anymore. A cross is just the symbol of the church, the logo of the church, the place in which Jesus Christ was crucified. That is the cross. It is not the the integration, the divine integration of heaven and earth in one singularity anymore. And that is one of the most profound symbols that you can understand and transform into a very deep meaning, the symbol of the cross. But notice how in society we live a very banal, a very kind of ordinary life in which mysticism, magic, and profound meanings are lost, are missing. And if we find a person that is living his symbolic life, he's rich of meaning, we say, man, that person is not, right? That person is crazy. That person needs to see a psychologist. That person needs some type of medication because I am seeing a tree. I am seeing a tree that, in this forest, and he's seeing a universe. He must be crazy because I'm just seeing a tree. And I know that biologically and ecologically that is a tree. Why he is seeing an universe? Dude, go to a psychiatrist. That is sadly our current state. And I say sadly because, for example, in this example of the tree is an universe. It is not a tree. It is really an universe. If you studied the whole biodiversity that lives in a tree, the whole complexity that a tree needs to undertake in order to survive, in order to continue, the whole functionality of trees and the whole interconnectedness of trees for the whole universe, you will understand, okay, yeah, every tree is a universe. But not only the tree, also every leaf is a universe, and every root is a universe, and every atom that constitute the matter of the tree is a universe, and every electron in that atom is a universe, and every quark is a universe, and every quantum space, non-local, is a universe. You can go forever with different degrees of meanings, deconstructing the symbolic power of reality and making that a solid spirit in your consciousness, a solid way of being, lifestyle, a solid character, profundity of character. When we say, oh my gosh, I talk with a very profound man or a very profound woman, what we are saying really, we are saying that we talk with someone that have a lot of meaning in his life or her life. That was you want. This is your goal in personal development. So the current man, the modern man, is living in a rock that he calls planet Earth, floating in space that he called Milky Way galaxy, and he's living in a country and he's living in a material life and he's living in a physical reality, and this all start with the Big Bang, and we are basically living here until we die. And until we die, we should produce a lot of capital in between because we are economic beings. And more than that, we are capitalist beings, according to modern men, at least in Western society. And that's it. That's life. You go to work, you produce, and you live your physical life, and you're dead. That's it. Bye bye. Arrivederci. What do you think about that type of life? What do you think about that type of story? What do you think about that type of marketing? We can call that existential marketing that we have all been brainwashed to live. That is our quasi symbolic life. How stupid is that? How ridiculous is that? When the life of the tribal man, the man that used to live in the tribes, the man that is very connected with the elements of earth, air, water, fire, and quintessence. If you want to know more about the five elements and how they integrate in your consciousness, for maximum expression and evolvement, go and watch my mini series. It's in Spanish, so you need to understand Spanish, and it's called The Five Elements, Los Cinco Elementos, Derek Israel. You will love that miniseries. It's a 5 episode one. So the man or woman that used to live in tribes, they were not living this type of bored life that we are living today. They were doing divine stuff. For example, people that used to live in tribe, they believe in some cultures that they were responsible of making the sun appearing in the daylight. If they didn't work spiritually every day, the sun will not work. It will be forever night. So you may think, oh my gosh, but Derek, that is a crazy idea. We all know that the sun do not depend on a culture to function, to work. But yes, I know, but at least they have a meaning, a profound meaning, something to aspire every day and to work for being better every day. And their life had some type of mysticism and magic. So I'm not asking you to believe that it's your responsibility to make the sun work. What I'm just asking you is to start developing more symbolic life in your whole journey, in your own trip in this world. We can learn a lot from people that is not well civilized, people that is still connected with animals, spiritual animals. They are also symbols. When I talk about spiritual animals, I have a whole mini series here in the podcast about spiritual animals. You can search Derek Israel YouTube in YouTube spiritual animals. I just have done like 3 episodes. Uh, it's gonna be a slow process, but I'm gonna continue expanding in that realm. Why I do it? Well, it's not because I believe that a lion is just a lion. No, the lion is a symbol. When we are talking about spiritual animals, we are talking about symbols, dude. So let's say that you are walking with a shaman in a forest and you both see a lion. For you, that may represent, oh my gosh, I need to run for my life. And that's it. And you start to run and scream, right? But for the shaman, the fact that that lion appears there may signify that he's now ready to heal his community. So notice how it's the same animal, but it's not the same spirit. Interesting, huh? It is not the same spirit. So, what is the solution for this problem that we are living today about the lack of meaning, the lack of symbolism, the lack of the richness of a symbolic life in our consciousness, in our society, in our nations, in our cultures, in our children? Well, the solution is very straightforward, is to develop a more individual and collective meaning. So I already talked about individual a lot. So let's talk about a little bit the collective meaning. Before, in the past, nations used to have meaning. Now, what we have a crazy. He's not crazy. Let me not say that. We You know what? I don't want to say crazy because then I will be using the same weapon that I always criticize. So we have Putin, you know, the president of Russia, in which the whole meaning of his military operation, as he called it, but we can call it war or invasion in Ukraine, he has a meaning for it. He's not doing that just for power or for economic reasons or for imperialist objectives and aims, although obviously he's doing that for those reasons as well. But also he has a ledger of meaning, a very deep meaning behind it. He thinks that Ukraine and Russia belongs together. He thinks that they are one people, that they are supposed to be one. That is a hell of a meaning. That meaning can propagate war, definitely. And if you want to know more about war, you definitely need to listen my episode, What is the Nature of War? One of the most profound episodes of the podcast. You will understand war in a very fundamental level. But notice in this war, notice how Russia as a country, they do not have the collective meaning that Putin has in his own life. So we can see like a disconnection from the individual to the collective meaning in this example. Because the Russians, people of Russia, they do not want the war. This is not the war of Russia. This is the war of Putin. But sometimes the whole nation as a collective, they want a war. They want a meaning. They are all gravitating in the same symbolic life. And sometimes it's for war, but sometimes it's for other things. For example, Greece, the old Greece, they were gravitating in the symbolic life of building a very innovative polis or state, political state, building the philosopher state, building a state of art, of body perfection, intellectual sophistication. All of those philosophers like Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, all of those, they live that old Greece and they had a collective meaning. They were not perfect. They were divided in some sense. Politically, we are always going to be divided in some sense, but they had like a sense of collective meaning. Now we have lost that, not only country by country, but also as humans. And let me reframe that. We have never, in our history of humankind, we have never built a collective meaning. Never. This have never happened before. This is our hope. This is our aim. As humans, we should be thinking about how we are gonna build a collective meaning for all of us that encompasses all of us, because that is the only way probably that we are not going to assassinate ourselves in a nuclear war or other thing. That's why I believe a lot in the interplanetary exploration, because I believe that by exploring space, we're gonna be more united. And maybe I may be wrong, because more space also means more political potential. So when we are conquering Mars, Venus, Pluton, or whatever planets we are gonna be conquering, or other galaxies, Notice how we humans we are going to want the power of those regions, exactly as happened in Earth. Like the Russians want the power, the Chinese want the power, United States want the power, everyone wants the power. So that may extrapolate to the cosmic ventures. But my hope is that while we are evolving as humans, we also our consciousness will be evolving. And maybe when we are in the whole universe, we're going to be able to have a collective meaning, because we are not going to be locked in a small planet. We're going to be all around the universe. So we are going to need a connection, a human connection with the other beings that live, for example, in Earth, in Mars, in the moon. How are we going to maintain that connection? We create a collective meaning, right? But that is just me trying to hypothesize uh, future stuff. So, yeah, we need to build not only more individual meanings, but also as a collective. In your family, for example, that is a thing that I have been doing with my family as soon I decided to be the leader of my family. I remember that day. I was in a convention. It was called Alpha Males Convention in Florida. I was there like a couple of years ago. I made some videos in that convention, and and they were talking about family and the importance of being a leader in your family, the family head. And that day I decided, okay, I am a new father. My daughter had like maybe 2 months of being born. And I decided that day that I will strive. I don't know if I'm going to succeed, but I will strive to make my family a symbolic family. And we have a collective meaning in our house, in our home. And my daughter participates in that. We have a collective dream. We have a collective aim. And everything that happens to us as family, we discuss it with the symbolic dimension into account. We don't discard that. We frame everything into symbols and meaning. And that gives us strength as a family, as a unit, as a team. So consider building collective meanings as well. If you have maybe a partner, or you are maybe in a leadership position, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a podcaster, maybe you are an artist, maybe you're a politician. I don't know. My videos and podcasts are viewed and heard for so many different weird kind of people. You will understand how to do this, my friend. You will know. You should know. So you may be saying, Derek, this is so cool. It's amazing. Your symbols are the symbols. Your symbols are so extraordinary. Oh my gosh. I love your podcast. I can hear you forever. Oh my gosh, Derek, please, if you divorce, call me the next day. You are so amazing, but how? How the hell I will apply this marvelous knowledge and symbols and meanings that you are transferring to me today? How this can have a practical dimension in my life? How can I turn this into real knowledge? All right, that is a very valid question. Let's go there then. So let's talk about how you will implement this idea. how really you're going to implement this direct challenge in the Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2. But before I continue forward, let me remind you that you can donate to this podcast, and by donating, you help us to continue providing this service for free in order to make the humankind a more advanced and sophisticated humankind. So if you are enjoying this podcast that do not have ads, at least external ads, because yes, I put ads like this one, join my TikTok and blah blah blah, but these are all, these are my own ads. But if you want this show to stay pure without the toxicity of other people ads, or without any type of subscription premium kind of format in order to watch the content, if you want this podcast to continue free forever, please donate using Patreon. The link is in the description, and in that way, you can help us to be self-sustainable. Thank you. So let's start. Or let's continue with how we can make this idea of the symbolic life a reality in your own life and also in the collective. So the first thing that you need to consider is that you need to become sensible, or I may say sensitive. I don't know if that word sensible really exists, but sensitive to symbols and trust your intuition. This is the first step. And this whole idea of symbols, it has a trap. And I will discuss that trap at the end. So stay tuned until the end, because you don't want to fall in that trap. What I mean of being sensitive, well, I mean that you should be ready to be impressed by the symbolic life. Look around. It's amazing. All the symbols that you are experiencing. Now, it's not the same to experience a symbol rather than living a symbol. I want you to start living symbols, vivifying those symbols in your life, electrifying those symbols in your life, becoming sensitive, pure for them. You know that, for example, if you go to and do fasting, I have a couple of episodes around fasting. You can search fasting Derek Israel, are on Spanish for now, but you can search for them if you know Spanish. If you are doing fasting and you are not eating nothing for a couple of hours or for a day, you notice that you become sensitive to spiritual nonsense, or spiritual phenomena, or spiritual experiences and wisdom. It is the same. I want you to become more alert to symbols. And once you are more alert to symbols, more conscious of them, I want you to trust your intuition about the meaning of that symbol. Because this is a huge problem for people that cannot pull this off, is that they do not believe in their own intuition, and therefore they do not believe in their symbolic life. They cannot live their symbolic life, a life full of deep meaning, of singular, unique meaning. So they depend, for example, they depend on others to interpret their symbols. They go to the psychic, they go to the psychologist, they go to their mother. No, 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 my friend. The symbols that are basically organizing nucleus of meaning in your consciousness, They only can be decoded by you. This is the crazy thing. They only can be inferred by you. The real meaning and the deepness of a symbol only can be discovered discovered by you. No one else can really do this work for you. Now, they can help you, they can guide you. I am helping you right now with this knowledge, with these symbols, with these meanings, right? But at the end of the day, I cannot tell you, man, what your dream will symbolize for you or what will signify for you. You need to do your own work. And your intuition knows, but you are so fixed with your rational mind, with your logical mind, because that is the mind that your culture appreciates, that you discard your intuitive capacities and you marry with your intellect. And your intellect has a function and a virtue, but it's not everything in life. You need to combine intellect with intuition. So trust better your intuition for now on. This is so common sense when we are talking about spirituality. It's not like a radical idea, but I must remind you because sometimes we forget. We forget to trust our own intuition, and that is our teacher. The second way or strategy to materialize your symbolic life is that you need to introspect deeper and deeper your layers of meaning, because you will have a meaning related to a symbol, but that meaning is at a spectrum, and that spectrum goes forever in deepness. This is the beauty of reality, my friend. And you can decide how deep you go. For example, you can take the symbol of a coffin, where, when people that are dead, they are resting there, right, in the funeral. So you can take the symbol of a coffin, and you can drive from it meaning. You can say, okay, for me that means death, and that's kind of obvious. That is like the standard meaning. But then you can say, oh, but I remember that death is a spectrum, because every meaning has deepness, and it's like a vacuum of infinite meaning, or deepness or richness of meaning. So what I will do? Well, I will introspect forever, not for an hour only, forever, for the rest of my life. What is death? And every time that you are in a funeral, you will see the symbol, you will see the coffin, and you will vivify, my friend. You will live death as a meaningful experience for you. And notice how many great things a very good meaning around death can bring to your life. A very good meaning around death can bring an urge for you, or a hurry, or a drive from you to achieve things, to live fully. It can bring devotion for the after death. It can bring mindfulness in every second that you are alive. It can bring life to life if you understand death. So, by deepening the meaning of death, you can learn how to live. But only that is possible if you go all in the meaning of death based on symbols. Do you understand how this is all like a puzzle? This is the art of living, my friend. I know this is sometimes a little bit complicated, kind of, but at the end of the day, this is the art of living, the art of understanding symbols, the art of deepening meanings, and transforming your life and your actions based on your new meanings. The next step to become pragmatical with this idea is to act prudently. This is very important. You need to act prudently and grounded according to the impulse and desire of your meaning. What this means? Well, one thing is to have a very profound meaning, and another thing is to act impulsively based on that meaning. Because it is not the same. Let's continue with the example of the funeral and the coffin. I hope that the coffin is the right word. Sometimes I say some words that I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Let me say. Let me check real quick. Yeah, the coffin. Yeah, I'm saying yeah. It's just I'm just checking. I'm just checking. So let's say that you are with a friend in a funeral and you are seeing the coffin. That is the symbol. And you are both having a great degree of meaning based on that symbol. And you both have a very deep sense of death based on that symbol. But you both act differently based on that meaning. So your friend starts screaming in the funeral, "Oh my gosh! I will die! I will die! Oh my gosh, I understood the meaning! I understood the profundity of death! Ah!" And everyone is like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening?" Well, you both understood the meaning of death, but you both acted differently to that meaning. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to act prudently and grounded with your meanings. Do not act crazy. Act with peace, act with maturity. This is not for you to become erratic. This is for you to become wiser. This is you to become a more grounded and integrated human being. This is what we are looking when we are talking about meanings. Okay? So also you need to protect your meaning and your symbolic life as your most important inner resource. A lot of people will try to remove your meanings. And if your meanings are like very out of the wall, very contrary with what culture wants you to believe, probably they will try, culture, society, your parents, a lot of people, they will try to block that type of meaning that you are engineering in your life. So protect your meaning. This also includes, do not try to impose your meaning in other people. Do not try to convince people that your meaning is right. At the end of the day, it's your meaning. You may be wrong. It may be a false meaning, but it's yours. So believe it, live it in a grounded way, in a mature way, and do not try to impose your meaning in other people. That's why I always say to you, these truths that I'm discussing in the challenge, they may be real for me and they may not be real for you. They may be a truth that I discover in my life, in my universe, and this truth may be not real for you. I don't know, because I don't want to impose to you my meanings. You see, it's very important. And finally, and after this, I will discuss the trap that I don't want you to fall into. You know, the final step to live a pragmatical life with your meanings and symbols, your symbolic life, is to create a better order of reality based on the richness of your symbolic life. Because at the end of the day, you are the ultimate symbol and the ultimate meaning. So, this symbolic life of yours, in which everything has a meaning, in which everything is rich of life, you need to make something about this. You need to externalize this richness with something. For example, I am externalizing the richness of my meanings and my symbolic life in this podcast. For example, I have 510 episodes of output of meanings externalized to you. I am trying to materialize my symbolic life in a masterpiece, in a art form, in something, in a business, in something that is tangible, in something that can create a certain impact in the world. So that is your last stage as a creator of meanings, that that yourself becomes the ultimate symbol and the ultimate meaning. Sometimes people say to me, I only see your name, or I only see like a picture of you, or only like the logo, and I already feel peace. Like I don't have to hear you. I don't have to uh, play your video or play your podcast to feel the peace or to feel a little bit of personal development, because just with your face, I already feel it. Why? Why do you think that happened? Because I am already a symbol in your mind that represent personal development, psychology engineering, business development, spirituality, sexual mastery. I don't know, whatever I represent for you. I became the ultimate symbol. I became the ultimate meaning through my work. Is if I only had these ideas in my mind and nothing else, and I do not organize any project or product or solution to externalize those ideas, well, you will see my face And the meaning that you will derive from from my face will be nothing, because I didn't share with you my meanings. I had to do this to become a symbol for you, to become a meaningful meaning for you. I had to do this podcast. I had to do the videos. I had to write the books. I had to become the personal brand, the influencer, the communicator. This is my output for you. And now you have the responsibility to become a symbol yourself for the world. How you will do that, I don't know. You know. And I can help you to do that with my course, How to Be a Top Content Creator, because this is what I do. I create content, I create art, and I share it with the world. And maybe if you want to do something like this, enroll in my course and you will learn everything that you need to know to become a content creator, a successful one. You can go in derekisrael.com, or in the description below, you can see the link for my courses. But maybe this is not for you, and you are more like a teacher, a conventional teacher, or you are more like a, I don't know, like a dancer, and you want to express your meaning and your symbolic life in other areas. That's good too. Just do you, be you, and that's it. But create that output based on the richness of your symbolic meanings and symbolic life. Now, what is the trap? Well, the trap is a diagnosis that is called schizotypical disorder. It is not schizophrenia. It is not a personality disorder. It is just a disorder that psychiatrists and psychologists use to describe people that have weird kind of notions of the reality. You can look it on Google, schizotypical. Now, if you go all in this idea, if you go all in blindly in this idea, you will start to generate a very particular kind of meaning for your life, and people will see you as weird as hell. This is something that will happen. But let me tell you, that doesn't mean that you will be diagnosed, or that you will be medicated, or that you will be crazy. But you need to do one thing to prevent a diagnosis if you go all in. Because believe me, if you go all in with this idea, you may end up in a psychiatrist. Yeah, because if you go all in, you will be talking things, you will be looking at the sun, and you will not see a sun, you will see a god, for example, because maybe that is your meaning. And if you say that in the middle of a mall, in a shopping mall, oh, look god, you may be arrested, and you will be assessed by a psychiatrist, that, or a psychologist, as myself. But what we are going to look for to understand if you are schizotypical or not, if you are, if you can have the diagnosis or not, this is the thing. This is the thing that you need to do in order to prevent being diagnosed with something, is that you need to maintain your functionality. This is critical. You cannot go so all in this idea that you lose yourself and you become non-functional in your life. And by functional, I mean that you are able to work, you are able to relate with people, you do not harm yourself, you do not harm others, you follow, conventional laws, and you are happy. That's it. Like, you do not get extremely crazy with this idea. For example, I know that I'm weird, and I have been for almost 1 hour and a half talking about weird stuff in this whole podcast. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm crazy. And that do not mean that I'm schizotypical. Why not? Well, because at the end of the day, I get clients with this, I pay my bill with this. This is my work, this is my job, this is my career, this is my art. What you will do about it? I am functioning, I am working, I am following laws. I am not doing anything. Yes, it's weird, but it's not so weird that it can be harmful or can be, you know, a danger. So make sure that you stay balanced with this idea. I don't want you to become too crazy with this idea. And if you already have a psychosis or a psychotic disorder, be careful with this idea because you already are living in a symbolic life and you're already with a lot of meanings. The problem is that you are not functioning well. That's probably why you are psychotic, because psychosis is not the experience. Psychosis is the whole system of the phenomena. And the whole system in the phenomena, at least clinically, is not functioning, not working, becoming very sad or depressed because you are psychotic, blah, 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 blah. So make sure that you stay functional, but at the same time, make sure that you are living a symbolic life. All right, my friend. This is the end of the podcast of today. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a comment. And I want you in that comment to explain to the community, to the people that will see your comment, and to myself that I will be responding to your comment. What is your symbolic life? It's a very deep question. It's an open question. And I want to see what you can answer. It's going to be a very introspective kind of question. What is your symbolic life and how do you plan to live it? That is the question. And how do you plan to live it? Remember, share this with your friends. Share this in your social media. Share this in your group chats. Just a share always help. And you can basically disseminate and propagate this symbol arrested in this podcast with so many meanings to transform the collective and individual consciousness. You can propagate this with just a chair. So please do. Also, remember to join our Telegram chat if you want, and to donate on Patreon if you want to give love to this free podcast. All of those links are in the description. And just let me tell you that for me, the ultimate symbol is two things. And I will finish with this. The ultimate symbol, yeah, obviously is you, but also God and your life purpose. Your life purpose is a symbol. Also, God is a symbol. And yourself as a you, also you are a symbol. So there's a way that you can interconnect these three things: the power of God or the power of the universe, the power of a life purpose or the power of a direction in your life, and the power of yourself or the power of your own life. If you can connect these three things in your consciousness, you will live a happy life. And I want you to live that kind of life. It is not easy to do, but it's possible. I did it. I am living my life with purpose. I am living my life merged with God. I am living my life with a lot of meaning about myself. And this is externalizing in the fruit of my work, as you can see. So if you want me to help you to discover your own direction, your own life purpose, go to where it says Derek Israel courses in the description below and check the course Manifesting Your Life Purpose course. That is one of my most profound course, and I will teach you there exactly step by step in your own time, in your own space. Everything will be accommodated to your schedule because everything is pre-recorded. I will teach you exactly how to discover and to manifest the ultimate symbol and meaning of all, and that is your why. Why are you here? Why are you living today? And what is your life purpose? So I see you in the course. Thank you.